says somewhere out there is a creek full of gold nuggets, Slumach's gold. When Slumach was hanged, he uttered a curse.
When I die, the mine dies.
A death sentence to anyone that tries to find his gold.
The thing about this curse, the more you look into it, the realer it gets.
I'm the great-great-grandniece of Slumach, and it's my responsibility to find out what's truth and what's fiction in this legend.
If the gold was easily accessible, there would be no legends.
There's no better motivation than gold.
Oh my God, dude!
I'm getting excited.
Adam, you just had a hat on and you had a dog, and now the dog's gone and the hat's gone. And
all right, well, do you want it back? Here we go. and there we go. All right, now we got them both.
Oh wow, what's the dog's name?
This is Hank.
Ah, Hank.
He's 8 weeks old. Yeah.
8 weeks old. Good luck.
Yeah,
with
8
that.
weeks old. So he might be a little noisy, but we'll see how it goes.
that's fine by me. That's fantastic.
He's a golden retriever, so it's a little bit of gold in him.
Oh, my dog is half border collie and half golden retriever. When she gets in trouble, she's a golden retriever. So,
well, that's a smart cross.
Yeah, she's too smart, actually. Well, season three. By the way, I binge watched at least the 6 episodes that are on so far during basting turkey for Thanksgiving. I made lumpy gravy because of you. Thank you very much.
Well, lumpy gravy is better than no gravy, I guess. It's at least you have gravy. Yeah, I just put ranch. I put ranch on everything. So.
Oh, well, okay, let's start. Well, this is season 3 now. I talked to you during season 1, and that was like back in 2022. So season 1, season 2, season 3 now is out. And so for anybody that hasn't watched it, which is kind of going to be rare because it's a huge show right now in Canada. What is this all about? You're looking for gold still?
We got guys with guns and knives. What could go wrong?
If you ain't ready for it, this land will kill you. That means you're close to the gold.
I am actually worried that he's going to find the gold before me.
The gold is there, I'm sure.
We have it! We got it!
Yeah, but you got to understand, so the legend has changed a little bit. So we have within this legend, there's many layers, right? The lost gold mine of Pitt Lake isn't just a lost gold mine of Pitt Lake anymore. So we have a legend that is uncovering a legend within a legend. Does that make sense?
It does, especially when you watch it. I won't do any giveaways here, but after watching it, that makes a lot of sense because this show has really progressed. It's really evolved. It's really grown up in one sense.
It has evolved, and it's evolved in a way that this legend of a lost gold mine of Pitt Lake, supposedly a creek full of gold nuggets exists somewhere in Pitt Lake. Well, is it a creek full of gold nuggets, or is it a lost mine of maybe older origins? So we dive down into basically this legend that it could be a lost Spanish mine, and we find evidence of that at the end of season 2, and then season 3 jumps right into it.
Best part of the opening episode is your kid's car with the camera mount.
Oh yeah, we made we like to get a little bit technologically advanced in season 3, a lot of more tools, and I thought, well, I think the only technology that I'm really familiar with is probably remote control cars at this stage in my life. So we make a little ROV out of a remote control car, and it actually works fantastic. So we are able to get a remote control car in there, and things get a little crazy. We try to get this thing into one of this certain shaft of a mine that's been blocked, and the only way to get in there is, well, there's a couple ways to get in there, but first, to be safe, we kind of send in this ROV, and it shows images, and it reveals something that basically takes us down this rabbit hole. Literally, it's the size of a rabbit hole, and we go down in there, and the ROV doesn't last long, but I got it back home for the kids anyway, to say the least, in a couple pieces.
I was wondering did you ask the kid first before you used it for that? Or?
No, I would never be allowed. No, that's the thing is never ask permission. I tell them about it later, or they found out actually when they saw the episode. So it's there was a little bit of mediation going on thereafter.
They all right. So the other question, I'm not a climber. You are for sure. Can you explain that whole contraption you made to go across the creek?
Poland?
Yeah.
Damn, I got a lot of trust in you, bro. Adam once told me it was strong enough to support an elephant, so I should be all right. I got it. Watch that line, keep it tight.
Whatever you do, don't look down.
Damn. I shouldn't have looked down.
I told you.
Yeah, so there's a shortcut across the canyon. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's just a creek. It's a huge canyon. It's got about 100-foot side, 100-foot cliffs on within this creek, which is pretty much a river most of the times of the year. And we go down to the edge of this creek, this canyon, and rather than hike all the way around it, we go across. Well, the only way to get across is if we, either go down and swim, or put a rope up and Tyrolean traverse. And basically, it's using a rope to get across. So it's basically like a zip line, and we make a zip line across and try to cut this trip in half, essentially. And we cross this canyon, and if you don't want to make a mistake, this Tyrolean traverse. I mean, I made it; it's bomb-proof, so they trust me. I go across first, and I swim across, so they didn't have to get wet and cold. So I put a rope up for them, and we Tyrolean traverse across. It's basically a system of pulleys, a couple different lines, and you use your body on the rope to get across.
So when you say we, I really like that scene too because it defines all the characters that are their whole characters is defined when they're going across. So who are they?
So Taylor, Kru, and Dawn, and myself. So I mean, to back up a little bit, when we first found this mine that's connected to the legend, Kru and I were out on our own. We're separated from Kru and Taylor, or we're separated from Dawn and Taylor. So it was just Kru and I, and we're down climbing. We got to get to the lake because that's where we're getting picked up. Dawn and Taylor flew earlier, so we were separated, and Kru and I come across this old mine, and we realized that we got to get back. We got to get back, but we're not, we don't have enough equipment. We're not really prepared to explore this mine. So we come back and we bring Dawn and Taylor with us. Now, on the way back, we discovered that there's a shortcut. So instead of going and doing this whole trip all the way around the mountain, getting to this mine, we can go straight up from the lake. And to get to this mine straight up from the lake, we can take a shortcut across this canyon. And to bring all four of us there safely, I set up a Tyrolean traverse to get across this canyon, and it saves us about a day's travel.
It was a good scene. It's a good scene. So you've got an expert gold seeker character. You have an elder, and you have someone that's related to the legend.
Yeah, it's Taylor. Taylor has direct family ties to the First Nations man, Slumach, which the mine is named after. The lost gold mine of Pitt Lake is essentially came from this Slumach, who was this First Nations man who some say discovered a lost gold mine and was hung for a crime. He committed a murder in 1891. He was hung for that crime, and then basically he was executed. And on the gallows, he said, "When my mind dies, the mind dies," or "When I die, the mind dies." So he uttered these words, and that's what kind of spawned the legend of the lost gold mine. It became Slumach's lost gold mine. Now, let's like I said, there's layers to this. So, like any legend and any lost gold mine story, there's going to be hearsay. There's going to be things that is misinformation. It's been embellished over the years. It's blown up into this huge story where there's a lot of things that are not exactly true. And that's what happens in this next season. Season 3 is really about getting to the truth. Who was Slumach? What was his background? And how is that really related to the lost gold mine of Pitt Lake? And was his lost gold mine a mine, or was it a creek full of gold nuggets, or was it something far older? We dive into the legend of the lost Spanish mine, that geographically the lost Spanish mine of Harrison Lake and the lost gold mine of Pitt Lake are somewhat related, at least in my theory. Of all the research I've done, these two legends are related, and season 3 really takes us down that part of the legend and investigates the theory that maybe these mines are one and the same.
Yeah, because you've been obsessed by this for over 20 years. This is way before the History Channel came to you. In fact, I think you went to the History Channel yourself and said you need to film this.
Well, this how it all started was I started climbing I started climbing mountains in the area based on the legend, because I read about this legend as a kid, and I thought, and at that time I was getting really into climbing and mountaineering, and I said, well, why not climb a mountain where, if I'm going to go climbing, why not have a chance of discovering a gold mine worth billions? Like, let's kind of combine the two. So I started making these big, huge glacier traverses across from Harrison Lake to Pitt Lake. Geographically, you have these lakes running from where I live, from east to west. So if I start from Harrison Lake, there's Stave Lake and then Pitt Lake. So at the north end of these lakes is this glacial system, this glacial complex, and they're all the north ends of these lakes are connected by this mountainous terrain, this territory. And if you stay in the high country, you can connect and come out, basically going from one side to the other. So I started doing these traverses. I did 3 traverses in 3 years. Every summer I would go do this. And it started in 2009, and I started doing these traverses with a partner of mine from Australia, and we wrote about these. We blogged. This is 2009. So this is the early days of blogging. So this is before really this is just on the cusp of that YouTube blogging boom, and we would just write basically how it happened. It was very unedited. It was just us telling a story of us going out into these mountains looking for this lost gold mine. And we were really just climbing every single mountain we could. We were addicted to kind of, exploring all these mountains. So we wrote about it, and and then in a few years, a couple producers picked it up, and we started our first show called Curse of the Frozen Gold.
There's an old prospector saying, the noble brotherhood will last as long as nobody finds any gold.
There's always a price.
This has got to be the mother lode. We found gold!
I'm done, man. We're like I'm done.
A curse will take you in if you let it.
Hold on!
And that was on Discovery Channel in 2014. Yeah. So we did a whole show on that, and that was basically taking 6 of our trips. They did 6 episodes, and they filmed 6 expeditions of us looking for the lost gold mine. And then, that was a one-off thing. And, fast forward to 2020, and I take the CBC podcaster out. It was AC Rowe, the Doc Project, I think is what it is. Yeah. His name's Brad, and he contacted me. He says, hey, we want to do a podcast on the lost gold mine of Pitt Lake. And I said, sure, come along. He's like, okay, where are we going? I'm like, get in the helicopter. We're going out. Because at that time, I was kind of really narrowing down on the legend. I found this old cabin. I found this old mine. And it was a really huge discovery at that time. So I said, well, perfect timing, because we just found something that's incredible. And that was a cabin at Thomas Lake, which we filmed in season 1 of Deadman's Curse, because it was such an important part of the legend. I never really got to fully explore it the first time around. So when he said he was doing this podcast, I said, well, this is great. I'm going back up. Feel free to record this podcast on site. And we did that podcast, and then the producers of Deadman's Curse contacted me and said, this would make a great TV show. You want to do one? And I'm like, sure. How is it going to be different from the next one? Then they were like, well, let's just start where you left off. So I said, perfect, let's do it. And here we are, 2025, and still going strong. So that's kind of how that started, was just me writing about my trips, looking for a lost gold mine in the mountains. It was just writing about it. Yeah.
I'm usually really good at looking at the history of things before interview, and I didn't know that blog at all. Oh,
Yeah, it was done on a website called Club Tread. I kind of just we would go climb mountains and write about climbing these mountains. But to me it was always I always had a s- I've so you know I've lost a lot of climbing partners that way because a lot of people realize that I'm not just going climbing mountains. I'm out there looking for something, and I don't sometimes tell people that I'm doing that because it's hard to find climbing partners that wants to go that want to go wander around in circles around the mountains. They're always like, "Well, Adam, what are you looking for? I thought we were going climbing a mountain. We go up, we go down." I'm like, "No, sometimes we have to go around. Sometimes we go up. Sometimes we go down. Sometimes we go back up." So it's kind of I have a different motivation when I'm going climbing, and that's really what was the spark into doing a TV series on this subject. It was just my curiosity of trying to uncover the truth, and that's the great thing about Dead Man's Curse is finally we have a venue to really explain more of the history and more of the truth to this legend.
and I find too that season three really captivating because you have so much history, really well filmed, but you also introduce these new characters that are also looking for the gold. So you have conflict, but also there's a scene where I'm thinking, yeah, Adam was or still is an outdoor educator because Daryl is having a hard time going up.
Oh man, yeah, that's another story. So, you know, Daryl, I've known him for many years, and he's super invested in the legend of Pitt Lake, the lost gold mine. He's determined that if someone's going to find it, it's going to be him. The problem with Daryl, though, is he is not really equipped to go out and looking for it. He's a great researcher, he's a great storyteller, he's a great writer, but his involvement in actually boots on the ground looking for it is not quite there. So I'm lucky enough to have the backing of the production of, the producer of Dead Man's Curse to kind of say, hey, let's bring Daryl along and help him get out there, look for it. And I said, you sure you want to do this? And they said, yes, it's going to be great TV. So I said, sure, let's do it. And I'm thankful for my years as an outdoor educator that I have the patience now um, to help that along. It's all about patience. I mean, no matter what, you always need patience when you're climbing a mountain on an expedition. Expedition type stuff in the outdoors is very much about patience. You have to have that calm approach to if you have a goal, you have to not rush it. You just have to let it come to you, and there's no rushing Daryl because if you do, things happen. But he's he was a great sport, and he's a great character, and he's contributed a lot in terms of research, locations of where to look, and his knowledge. His He has a history of the mine and keeping track of it. So the more people that we can get involved in this legend, the better.
I just loved it because I'm a past outdoor educator too, taking a lot of youth at risk out. And that moment where you're saying, Daryl, don't touch the rope. Daryl, don't touch the rope.
Well, because when you rappel, or when you're climbing, a lot of, and I've seen this with students and kids, is their first reaction is to grab the rope. But if you're falling and you grab that rope, I have no way to kind of keep you there, right? You're taking away your progress of moving up the rope, and I can't belay you. So it's, to get that through their head, their immediate reaction is to grab the rope. And that's what we got to work on with Daryl is don't grab the rope, Daryl. And yeah, you're right. It brought back a lot of memories of teaching students for the first time of climbing.
That's great. The other great one moment I like too, and I wrote it down too. There's a moment where you find a mound, and I won't give too much into the scene, but basically the perception at the end is not what you're looking for. It's a burial mound, possibly, right? But you said, or someone said, I'm not sure if it was you or someone else. There's one thing to try and solve a legend, try to figure out a mystery, but at one point, are we just being like others who came before us?
Yeah. To there's when you go looking for a legend that has a lot of history, you have to be cognizant of those that came before you and what the purpose of, where you are. And you, I mean, that's where you have to really be in tune with your surroundings and where you are, what you're doing, what you're looking for, especially when we're digging in the ground. You want to do a thorough search, but you also want to make sure that you're um, you're looking with a true heart. Like you're not just out there, trying to find gold for your own purpose or for wealth. You're trying to uncover history, and sometimes that history, there's ways to approach that history. There's protocol involved, and that's why Dawn and Taylor, we use them as guidance in those circumstances.
I found too that watching it, I think if you found the gold, and whether you did or not, I haven't finished the whole season yet, but if you ever did, it would almost be like oh, that's too bad. I wanted the story to keep going.
Or if I did, I just wouldn't tell you. I mean, it's there's things that you find, well, that we've found and that I found that TV's not ready for yet. So, we have to, when you have a production company following you around, I mean, this is real. This is not, a lot of people think TV, oh, it's just all fake or whatever. But the thing with this legend, with this show, is there's a lot of real stuff. And sometimes that real stuff, you have to have, sometimes it can be a little bit delayed to what you reveal in terms of what we're allowed to reveal and what we found on our own or what we found with production. There's certain things that, there's a lot more than just gold in this legend. So you're dealing with a lot of people's history, and things that you find, and you need other experts to kind of verify, especially with a lot of these old mines. You find an old mine is like, okay, is this an old Spanish mine, or is this, is there archaeological evidence? Is this a burial mound, or is this a cave? Is this, so there's some caves, there's some mines, there's archaeological protocols that you have to follow. And sometimes, you find something and you just have to, like, okay, well, let's just wait, let's come back to that. So this is as real as it gets, and I don't know how to explain it better to audiences. Is because we live in a time now where you have AI, you have reality shows, you have different TV shows that just blast the market with whatever content they want that's not real or it's embellished. But one thing I'm really thankful is our production company is so true to the heart of making this history available to our audience in the truest form. So we, as the boots on the ground, when we're out there, you find things, and sometimes it's just easier to leave that for later to explain it if we find certain things.
So that, because I was going to end with the typical question, which actually I don't like asking. I don't like it when people ask me too. What's next? That's usually how you end an interview. What's next? I think a bigger question is, I kind of know that something big is going to be next, and you can't tell us, but there is going to be something else, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, the great thing about the Lost Gold Mine of Pitt Lake, like I said, has lots of layers, and it's not. I always come back to this: it's not always just about the gold. It's not always about did you find the gold? Is to give you a really good example of this is at the end of season 2. We found the actual trail, the historical trail that linked Pitt Lake to Harrison Lake. Now, a lot of people don't understand the importance of that, but to me, and I think a lot of people should realize, is that archaeological evidence that we found on that trail linking Pitt Lake to Harrison Lake really drove home the fact that there's a legend of a lost Spanish mine on Harrison Lake and the lost gold mine of Pitt Lake that are connected. So there's not just gold to discover here. There's proving the fact that these two legends are connected. And to me, if anyone knows me and my expeditions that I do, I'm not just looking for the lost gold mine of Pitt Lake. I'm looking for someone who went missing looking for that gold mine of Pitt Lake, and he had a bunch of gold teeth. His name was Volcanic Brown. And to me, finding Volcanic Brown is could be the most epic discovery in the history of BC in the last 100 years. He went missing in 1931 and he's never been found. And he was a celebrity at that time. I mean, this is a 100-year-old search and rescue mission. That's what this legend to me has evolved in. And we found evidence of where he has been and where his camp was. And, you find volcanic brown, you're going to change history.
Wow. Okay, you got me excited. By the way, this is a Whiskey Fireside chat, but it's noon for me, so I'm having just a wee bit of J and B, and in fact, I'm kind of even baking it right now.
Oh. Well, you go right ahead, whatever calms your nerves, because, if one of these days you ever want to come out and help look for this gold mine or this legend or volcanic brown with me, feel free.
If you want another Daryl scene, I'm for it.
Well, it might involve a canoe. You can get in a boat. We can haul up a canoe up a mountain. So, if you watch this Thursday, I think this new episode on Thursday night is going to be right up your alley because there's a canoe involved.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. Okay, I will watch that.
You're not going to like what happens to the canoe, but there is a canoe.
Oh, no, it's sacrilegious, isn't it? Oh, oh man. Well, cheers, Adam. I really like the season 3 and looking forward to seeing what's next. And yes, I did cook the turkey, but the gravy was lumpy because of you.
Well, next time put ranch on the turkey because it's way better and that's my style. So, next time you're having that turkey, put a little bit of ranch on that and then you'll realize what I have for Thanksgiving.
Really? Okay, I always thought you were different, Adam.